O Mother Nui, stretch high above this valley. Your starry body is our glory. Then see the hawk of yonder Rahur quit, his fiery splendor, oh so mighty. He brings a light for all our weary souls. He makes the broken spirit whole.
Think about that one habit you've tried to quit a dozen times. It usually feels like this desperate game of tug of war, right? You're on one side, your craving is on the other, and you are just pulling with all your might. You're trying to drag this terrible impulse into the mud through sheer force.
Yeah, and we're taught that the only way to win is through, brute force willpower. Just pull harder.
Right, but traditional Japanese monastic psychology says you should do the exact opposite. Just drop the rope. Welcome to today's deep dive, where we're exploring why fighting yourself usually fails, and how the monastic method of non-contention can help you permanently outgrow self-destructive habits.
Okay, let's unpack this. Why does fighting a habit actually make it stronger?
It really comes down to something often called the white bear effect.
Yeah.
I mean, if I tell you right now, whatever you do not think of a white bear. What happens?
I mean, I am immediately picturing a polar bear.
And naturally. When you force yourself not to do something, your brain splits the work. One part actively tries to think about like literally anything else.
But a second background process has to keep checking in to make sure you aren't thinking about it.
So it's like a bouncer constantly checking a VIP list for a band guest. By actively scanning the crowd for the guy, the bouncer is keeping that guy's face front and center in his mind.
That's a perfect way to look at it. And actively suppressing a thought requires a ton of mental energy. Eventually you get tired or stressed or just distracted, and that active defense completely collapses.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But the background monitor, it's low energy. It just keeps running, constantly waving the forbidden urge right in front of you.
Okay, so if direct confrontation just exhausts us and triggers that alarm bell, what's the alternative? How do we slip past the bouncer?
You basically sneak past your brain's threat detector, the amygdala. Any massive lifestyle overhaul looks like a biological threat to your system, which triggers stress. So take the case of a guy who smoked a pack a day for 20 years.
Okay.
He didn't quit cold turkey. He just committed to replacing his morning cigarette with reading exactly one page of a book.
Wait, hold on. I have to push back here. Isn't that dangerously slow? If someone is desperate to break an acute, ruinous addiction, reading a single page of a book feels like, I don't know, bringing a squirt gun to a house fire.
It sounds totally backward, I know. But the goal isn't immediate eradication. It's about taking an action so ridiculously small, like a 0.01% improvement, that it tiptoes right past your amygdala's fight or flight threshold.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, by the time your brain realizes you've built a new habit, it's too late for it to fight back. You're outgrowing the habit, not destroying it.
But even if you're making these tiny, stealthy changes, the acute cravings still hit. Especially today when we're all walking around with these algorithmic digital leashes in our pocket.
Oh, absolutely. The monastic concept for that endless craving is tana, or the hungry ghost. But neurobiology gives us a bit of a cheat code here. Impulses actually only last about 20 to 30 minutes.
Really? Only 20 minutes?
Yeah, as long as you don't actively fight them or give in to them.
20 minutes feels like an eternity when you're craving something, though. How do you actually endure that void without finally snapping?
What's fascinating here is how mechanical the solution is. You don't grit your teeth. You just watch it happen through a clinical technique called urge surfing.
Urge surfing.
Right. First, you just give the urge a name to create a little mental distance. Then you notice where it actually physically sits in your body.
Like maybe your chest feels tight or your hands are twitching.
Exactly.
So you're treating it almost like a physical symptom, not a moral failing.
Yes. You aren't judging it. You're just using mindful breathing to ride that wave until it crashes on the shore. It eventually passes.
Surviving that 20-minute wave definitely takes intense internal focus. But to really transform permanently, it seems like we have to shift our focus completely outward. There's a therapeutic practice called Nikon that completely flips the script on how we view our habits.
It does, because addiction makes us hyper-focused on our own pain. Nikon forces you to look at your connections to the world by asking 3 simple questions.
Right. What you've received, what you've given, and what troubles you've caused.
Exactly. What have you received from someone recently? What have you given them? And what troubles have you caused them?
I love this because it's so practical. It's like flipping your brain's camera from a narrow selfie mode to a wide-angle landscape lens. Instead of obsessing over your own craving, you might realize, oh, my partner made me coffee this morning, and I completely ignored them because I was doom scrolling.
Exactly. It brings in accountability, but also gratitude. And when you combine that with Shaimakan, which is the conscious awareness of your own mortality, the picture really shifts.
Suddenly, the urge to mindlessly scroll social media for 2 hours feels absurdly trivial when you remember your time on Earth is actually finite.
You start seeing what really matters, and the distractions lose their grip on you.
So to pull this all together for you listening, you don't defeat your bad habits with violence. You outgrow them through mindful awareness. You have to drop the rope in that mental tug of war.
We always treat habits as these enemies that need to be crushed. But they aren't. They're actually teachers showing us where our lives are misaligned.
Which leaves us with this. If you stop fighting and start listening, what underlying truth is your most stubborn habit trying to teach you right now?